third and final chapter of the book of Nahum. Of course, we talked that Nahum's a poetic prophet with alliteration and interesting words, and some say onomatopoeia and other things. And of course, he's talking about the destruction of Nineveh. That is the main thing that he talks about. So let us continue. Chapter 3, Hoy ir damim, kula kachash perek mleya lo yamish taraf. Oh, the city full of crime, full of blood, treacherous, violent, where killing never stops. Think about Ir Damim. That's a phrase that was used by Yeshai, I believe, to describe Jerusalem. And here we have it used for Nineveh. Does it make Nineveh look bad? Does it make Jerusalem look bad? Does it make them both look bad? Kol shot v'kol ra'ash ofan v'sus doher umerkava mirakeda. The crack of the whip, the rattling of the wheel, the horse is galloping, and the chariot is bounding. It's mirakade, right? Rikudim, it's dancing. It's on its way. Parash ma'aleh v'lahav, chereb uvrak chanit v'rov halal v'choved, hager, v'ein ketzeh lagvia, v'chashlu b'gviatam. The cavalry is on its way with their swords that are lahav. Lahav means a flash. It means it's it's like it's on fire. And the spears are glittering. There are slain. There are corpses everywhere, dead bodies that are too much to number. People stumble over bodies. I think of the images of some of these war movies and fantasy movies and stuff that I've watched over my life, and these sort of images that are given here, the radiance of this destructive army. Merovs nunei zona tovat chen ba'alei kishafim hamocheret goyim biznuneha umishpachot bich shafeha. Because of the znut, the whoredom, the mistresses of sorcery who trap nations and people with their sorcery. So is this literally talking about znut, zonah, a word that we know also describes Jerusalem, especially when we think about the book of Hosea and his marrying of a zonah, as God tells him to marry somebody who's noted for their infidelity. Does it talk about literally? It's also in a sense talking about how Assyria did not hold to their treaties. At first, when Assyria came in, Chizkiyahu sent them all sorts of materials to get them to not invade. And that's what they said they would do. And just, I don't know if it was days, weeks, months, at some point in the near future, they invade, they get ready to destroy Jerusalem. It doesn't work. They destroy much of Yehuda, destroy much of the country, but not Yerushalayim. So this could be understood as being literally to the type of promiscuity of their nation, but also the nation as a whole, towards its alliances of the different people. I should just take a pause for a second. We know a lot about Assyria, the Assyrian Empire. We know a lot about it because they're a very ruthless, very strong empire. They also had left a lot of cuneiform tablets. If you go to the British Museum, I was in the British Museum not too long ago, you'll see some of them there. The British maybe even left some. So if you would go to Iraq, I don't recommend it too much. Then you might find others. I'm sure in other European museums they have them as well. But we know a lot about the society. We know a lot about how strong they were, how brutal they were. And my guess is some of the times when you read the victors writing the history, it may be somewhat exaggerated, but certainly we see here, at least from the outside perspective of Nahum, that they were a great empire, and one that would suffer, therefore, a great and disastrous defeat. And we see it also from the book of Yonah, written much earlier. It talks about Nineveh's Ir Hagdolah, right? Go to Nineveh Ir Gdolah, the great city, and call out to her. And obviously, it's a city of great significance for a while, from Nineveh all the way to from Yonah all the way to Nahum. And again, I don't remember the amount of years. I've heard somebody say even 200 years. I don't think it's that long. The amount of time between the two of them, and this understanding as to how great this city was. Continue verse 5. Pasuk A. Hineni elayich ne'uma Adonai tzvaot, v'gileiti shulayich al panayich, v'har'eti goyim ma'arech u'mamlachot kilonech. I will deal with you, says God. I will lift up your clothing, right? Your your nakedness. Everybody's going to see it, and you're shamed to the kingdoms, right? You're going to be unclothed. You're going to be uncovered because you are going to be destroyed. Vishlachti alayich shikutzim v'nibaltich v'samtich kiroi. I will throw hated things over you. I will make you disfigured. I'll make you a spectacle. Think of the word naval, right? In v'niblatich. The hayachol ro'ayith Yidod mimeth v'amar shadada ninvei miyanudla me'ayin avakesh menachamim lach. And all who will see you will be shocked, and they'll say, Nineveh has been destroyed. How can I look at her? Where will any comfort come for her? Of course, it's the book of Nahum, Nechama, the idea of comfort of Nahum. The Menachem in this book is Bnei Israel. It is not Nineveh. Nineveh is going to be destroyed. And these verses, this type of description should sound familiar to us, because it's the type of description that we've had over and over again being told to Bnei Israel, how they will be destroyed, about the disasters that will come to them. And here, of course, is that reversal. Hatetiv mino amon hayoshva bayeorim mayim savivla asher chel yam miyam chomata. Were you any better than No Ammon, which sat by the Nile, surrounded by water, its rampart, a river, its walls, consisting of a sea? It seems to be the city, I believe it's Thebes in Egypt, which was destroyed in the year about 660 before the Common Era, which is why we were able to place the book of Nahum after that point. Right, that was a city. It was surrounded by water. It seemingly, you might be surrounded by a great wall. You might think that you have the ability to survive what God is predicting, what I am telling you. This was also a great city, and it was destroyed. Kush atzma umitzrayim v'ein ketza put veluvim hayu be'ezratech. Kush, right? The many people of Kush, like Ethiopia, all the Egyptians and the Libyans, all these people were there to help her, right? We think of the country Libya. Here we see the ancient word for it. I don't know if it's the same exact territory as Libya today, but obviously we're talking about North Africa. Gam hila gola halcha bashevi, gam olaleha yirtishu, birosh kol chutzot v'al nichbadeha yadu gora b'chol gedula rutku vazikim. But she was exiled. Her children went into captivity. Her babes destroyed in every street. The nobles, lots were cast for the nobles, right? They used to be nobles. Now they're slaves with lots being cast to them. All of the dignitaries, all of their leaders, all the nobility were placed in fetters, were placed in chains. Gamat tishkari tihi na'alma. You too are shikur. You too are drunk. Gamat tivachim ma'oz me'oyev. You will also seek refuge from the enemy, but it won't happen. Kol mivtzarayich te'enim and bikurim im yenou v'naflu al pi ochel. All your forts are like fig trees with ripe fruit. Once you shake that tree, all of the fruits will fall down, and that's what's going to happen to you. Whether this refers to, the city, whether it refers to their alliances with other nations, it refers, you could say, to all of it. And this makes sense. We were told earlier that they were a zonah, that they were unreliable. They didn't hold by their treaties, this treacherous Assyrian army. And now nobody's going to hold, nobody's going to stay with them. Once the tree is shaken, all those fruits, again, it can be their people, their destruction, it can be these other enemies that you thought were firm and steady and staying with you. At the first moment of waving, at that first gust of wind, they'll all fall down and not stay with you. Hine amech nashim b'kirbeich le'oivayich patoach niftechu sharei artzeich achla eish berichayich. The troops within you are women. I know there was a story I saw today about women in the IDF breaking the glass ceiling, so maybe it doesn't, not as relevant today to make this analogy. The gates of your land are open to your enemies. Fire has consumed the bars of your gates. May matzor sha'abilach hazki mivtzaraich boi vatit v'rimsi b'chomer hachziki malbein. Water. Right? You're going to go get water for the seas to strengthen your forts, for clay, for mud. right? You're going to do whatever you can, but it's not going to work. Sham tochlech eish tachritei cherev tochlech kayelek hit kabei kayelek hit kabdi kaarbe. The fire will devour you. The sword will destroy you. It will devour you like mud and grub and arban locusts. All of these different destructive things. That's what's going to happen. You think you're protected. You think you're safe, like it said in the last chapter. Not happen. You had more traders. We have this word rachil, can mean a talebearer. Or at least this English says that it means a trader. I don't think it's too much of a compliment to say that it's a it's a talebearer, but it's somebody who goes from one place to another. So that's why the idea of a trader here. Some people trade in goods. Other people, I guess, trade in lashon hara and tales about others. You had more traders, you had more commerce, more business than the stars in the sky. But what's going to happen? It's going to be like mud. It's that's being, eaten away by, and it's just nothing anymore. Minizarach ka'arbe v'taf. Sarayich kigov gobi, hachonim bigderot biyom kara shemesh zarcha v'nodad v'lo noda mikomo ayam. Your guards were like locusts. Your officers like jumpers, like hoppers. Okay, they were on the stone fences on a cold day, and the sun comes out. What's going to happen? They disappear. And where they are, nobody knows. All of your guards, everybody ran away. Your city, your walls, it's all vacant. It's ready to be destroyed. Namu, ro'ech, melech ashur, yishkenu adi recha, nafoshu amech amchal ha'arim v'ein mikabetz. Your shepherds are sleeping, king of Assyria. There's the masters of the sheep are lying there. They're not able to move. Your people scattered all over. There's none to gather them, right? Your army's not going to be there. Ein keha l'shivrecha, nachala makatecha, kol shomei shamacha, taku chaf alecha, ki al mi lo avra ra'atach tamid. There's no healing for your destruction. You're wounded. It's too great. Everybody who hears it will clap their hands, because all have suffered from your destruction. And so everybody is going to be joyous. We're told in different places, don't be joyous over the destruction of your enemy. But it seems that this is such an enemy of destruction that has caused such pain to the entire world that when the revenge happens, that everybody will be overjoyed. Will be overjoyed by their destruction? Will they be overjoyed by their now perceived safety that may or may not last? Who knows if it will? Just one comment about all this book, which is a lot about nikama. It's a lot about revenge. One of the things that I think is very important in Jewish life is that revenge is something that is attributed to God. We're not being told here that Bnei Yisrael should go and revenge. It's God who avenges Bnei Yisrael using other nations. Assyria, as described in Yeshaya, as Shevet Api. They are God's rod of anger. Bavel is described, Nebuchadnezzar is described as God's messenger, doing the same. But we don't see that we are supposed to avenge. God is the one that avenges. Bnei Yisrael does not avenge Egypt. It is God who avenges Egypt. We don't wage war against Mitzrayim. And here we're not really told to wage war against these nations. You could ask questions, Purim soon. How is it that Esther continues to want to avenge, and Mordechai the day after, right? That they fight 2 days in Shushan, and isn't it enough? Haven't they laid off most of their enemies are destroyed? A question for a different time. But the book of Nahum here concludes with that. I think you should conclude it with this idea. And it concludes as well where, again, one of the ideas of Nechama from Yonah to Nahum, from the prophet who goes to Nineveh and tells them that they will repent and they will be saved, to the prophet who says to them, it doesn't matter. You've gone too far. You are too evil. Perhaps they are not even able to repent anymore. We saw those ideas at a certain point with the Yehudan, the book of Yirmiyahu. At first, Yirmiyahu is saying, repent, go back, this. And eventually, Yirmiyahu says, not repent, but relent. Destruction is coming, and give up to the Babylonians before it gets bad. And here, the destruction is not coming to Bnei Israel, it's coming to the people of Nineveh. And at least for a short period of time, there was much relief in the world to see the destruction of this terrible enemy. Recording.